Nothing fancy with another flashlight review as promised. This is my tabletop review of this little tiny light. Maybe not that tiny, but small enough. It's a Fenix L1D LED flashlight. Man, this thing rocks. I was going to include it in the L2D video, but there's enough differences and there's enough interest in this specific model, I'm going to break it into its own vid, just like you're seeing here. And one reason for that is there's a lot of users out there that may not be interested in the L2D for whatever reason. Maybe this longer size is too big for their application and they just want a small everyday carry light, EDC light, which the L1D would function perfectly as, and therefore it behooves me to have a video for them talking to the specifics of this light only. And there is a separate video on the L2D by Nothing Fancy out there should you be interested. Also, I'm going to refer you to my Shedding of Light Foundation video, and in that I talk about, again, the philosophy of use and the advantages of this newer light technology, which you might find interesting, especially before you go out and crank out some dollars on a new flashlight. Also, by way of disclosure, I am not the most, knowledgeable flashaholic out there. There are guys that devote their entire life to the study of these flashlights. They totally dig them, and they're extremely knowledgeable on every technical aspect of these lights. You will find that I have all-around competency in them. You'll find that I can share the details, hopefully in a manner that most of my viewers and subscribers will find useful and helpful and hopefully entertaining as well. I might miss a detail or here and there, which I totally did in the L2D review. Had to annotate some things, and I'm sure I'll do it here too. But overall, I think you'll be happy with the amount of information I share to you. Let's get going. First off, the size and weight of this Fenix L1D. What is it? Well, I told you in my other L2D video, I kind of prefer to run these lithium power cells in them. I find I get really good brightness with them. They last and last, and as you've seen, I often use my lights in very cold conditions. And when I get in those cold conditions, I have found that indeed the lithium power cells last longer, and they have the advantage of being lighter in weight. They are expensive, I know that. I always buy them on sale though, so doable. 2.2 ounces, that's a bottom line. With lithium power cells, that's what this weighs. Incredibly lightweight. How about the size? Well, the size is adequately small. It is about the same diameter, actually exactly the same diameter as the L2D, at least in head size. And that makes sense because, to the best of my knowledge, these light heads are interchangeable. They use the same head. Pretty cool, huh? In fact, I think I swapped them around between this L1D, L2D, I forget which one, because one had kind of a greener tint to it. I didn't really totally dig it, and so I swapped the head on it. I think I put on an L2D in it, a little bit brighter. I don't want to go down that road, though. But suffice it to say, small and compact. Now, that's not to say that there aren't lights that are more compact, and I'm going to show you the one I often use in my knife reviews, and it's this one. This is a little Streamlight Stylus Pro. Much thinner, yeah? However, not multi-mode, just a single mode, and not as bright. But for a little tiny pen light, which you need to just show a few details, as you've seen in many of my videos, it functions quite nicely. So that's a question you need to ask yourself. Do I need a thinner light, which kind of I showed in my everyday carry rule of law system in my fanny pack? I use a slender Streamlight. It's actually just a regular stylus, not the Stylus Pro, because I'm just really size limited. This light might be a little bit too thick. However, if you're going to go for pocket carry, or if you're just going to use the holster that it comes with, then it's definitely a good option. And I've got so many things on this table right here. This is a P3D, but that's what the holster looks like. Very similar. And you can strap it on your belt. Protect the lens that way. Pretty cool. Awesome. So size and weight, great. Construction, I talked to this in the L2D video. By the way, my battery's probably going to die, so bear with me if it does. Oh, here's that holster right here. Da-da-da. Fits in nice. By the way, it comes with some really cool accessories, and yeah, I forgot to say that in the L2D video. Comes with that little holster there, You can put a lanyard on it, slip it on your belt. Not quick attachable, but slip on fine. And then it comes with that lanyard that I showed you. By the way, remember the modification I showed you in the L2D video? I suggest you put a stainless steel split ring on there and attach your lanyard to this, because the squared edges of that little hole there on the L series lights will cut this little lanyard they include. You have an extra clicky switch cover. Nice. Couple extra O-rings. Good value. Good value. I like extra things when I buy stuff. That's cool. And it's useful too. Construction. Just along the lines of L2D. It's got the anodized aluminum finish, which is durable. Will chip like I showed you, but not a big deal. O-ring seal. That gives it the IPX8 waterproof standard, which is down to 12 feet for 24-hour static pressure. Translated, basically anything you do realistically with this light, you won't get water in it. If you decide to go diving with it, and you're probably using it outside of its design specification, you need to get a dive light, dude. But overall, the construction and durability, you will not be disappointed from what I've seen in 5 months of use of my lights, my Fenix lights. Beam dispersion. We talked about that in the L2D video. Let me just briefly go over it with this one. Beam dispersion is, how is that beam created? Does it have any weird things about it that might concern us? Again, we're looking at the L1D. That is a single AA powered flashlight. What mode am I in here? That was turbo mode. There we go, general mode. There's medium, there's high. Then we go into SOS. I'll go over those here in a sec. Nice beam though. That's low. Notice that it's that clean beam. There's no artifacts, i.e. shadows or dark spots that we need to be worried about. Let's go to medium. Then we got a nice spill beam. It's this portion here, which is peripheral lighting for whatever our subject is. Very helpful. We go to high, even better. And the nice thing I love about these Fenix lights is they just have a very consistent beam. I think some guys were complaining of halos in theirs. I haven't seen that in any of my Fenix lights. I don't see it now. Maybe I'm blind. But what I see is a very concentric, tightly focused central beam with a very useful spill beam, which provides peripheral lighting. Awesome. What's the range on this one? With the L1D, in my experience, probably around 25 yards. Useful illumination, 25 meters. Your mileage may vary. And if we go to turbo mode, that's pretty darn bright. For a single AA powered flashlight, amazingly bright. Like I talked about in my L2D series, what batteries do you recommend, Nothing Fancy? Again, there's lots of thoughts on this. I talked early in the vid that for cold weather, I generally go with a lithium battery. However, if you're using your light a lot, a high quality nickel metal hydride is very cost effective and very useful. In fact, some dudes have found that they actually provide a little bit more brightness, just slightly more brightness than perhaps the lithium batteries do. This is a Sanyo in-a-loop battery, which retains its charge even in the drawer, which is very important because a normal nickel metal hydride will discharge all the time. Next thing you know, you pull out of the drawer trying to use it. No charge there. Let's go over the modes real quick now that we've talked about the beam. Again, the way we change the modes on our L series Fenix lights is just by rotating the bezel. Obviously the light is on, and I've rotated it clockwise to put it in the regular mode. Let's see where I'm at here. Okay. So first, when we turn it on, there's your low mode. One light tap on that orange tail cap switch puts it in. How you doing? Medium. There's high. And there might be different names to these modes. It's not super important. Then we tap it one more time. We get into SOS mode. Let's go. There it is. And it does the flash of SOS signal, supposedly. Nice to have. I don't know if I'd ever use that. Hopefully I wouldn't. Then if we rotate it counterclockwise, and that is as we hold the light, we're in turbo mode. Manufacturer says, hey, don't run that turbo mode too long. Haven't found that to be a factor. The head will get warm, but the light still works after it. I probably would make a practice of it all the time, but I wouldn't be paranoid about it either. One more tap when we've rotated that bezel to the counterclockwise position, and we go into the disco mode. Strobe. I did change on this. Initially I was thinking that was a really useful mode for law enforcement use. After further study and reflection, I don't know. I'm kind of ambivalent towards it. You know, it's good. What it would be is a good signaling mode, honestly. I'd prefer that over SOS. If you go to that strobe mode, you bet. I mean, that would be visible for a long ways away. By the way, don't do that if you're in enemy territory military types, because guess what that looks like? Gunfire. That's right. A bright flashing light. If you're coming in, if a helo's overhead, it could totally ace you with some 50 cal fire. Be careful. That's your modes. That's your beam pattern of the L1D. Pretty cool, huh? For a single AA battery, rock and roll. Brightness throw, I said about 25 meters. Runtime, pretty amazing actually. I'm just going to go off the manufacturer's specifications on this. Again, if you want to get down and dirty with the details, go to that forum and they'll talk about runtimes under different conditions. But the manufacturer on the L1D, you know, Cree-powered Q5 light, they're saying 1.5 hours at 120 lumens in turbo mode. That's at maximum mode. Then if we go down to general mode, which is about 12 lumens, 25 hours. And then 53 lumens, 5 hours. And then if you go to high mode, 107 lumens, 2 hours. I didn't cover all those with LTD. And honestly, I think most guys, when I start spitting specifications out like that, are going to tune out. Let me just say this. It's going to last a lot longer than any other single AA battery-powered flashlight you've ever seen in your life. Pretty much. I'll talk about a competitor to this light as I end the vid. So runtime, very impressive. Really, it's amazing. Modes and switchology, I showed you that. One thing I like about and I'll roll the comparison to its competitor in this section here. First off, the Fenix L1D uses a flush-mounted tactile clicky switch at the bottom. Nothing fancy, i.e. me, digs those. I like that. I like the click on, the click off, because oftentimes I'm wearing gloves. There's noise in the environment. I'm using a light. Might be a tactical night shoot, of which I used all my Fenix lights to see how they worked. And I found that that clicky, tactile click really helped. I know the light was on. I know it was off. Another thing I like is how it's flush mounted. Love that. It won't accidentally actuate in a pocket in a mag pouch like the TK11 or 10 will, because it kind of has a switch that sticks out. I'll cover that in the tabletop review of that light. Also, since it's flush mounted, we can stand it straight up and use it as a lantern. Talk to that in just a second. But back to its competition. One of the competitors to the Fenix L1D light is a Nitecore brand light called the D10. It is also powered by one AA battery. It has digital regulation, just like this L1D. By the way, that digital regulation is what makes it so effective. What it does is it maximizes the power source in delivering the energy to the LED, and it smooths it out. In other words, it makes it consistent. Remember our silly little light that I showed you in Shed Some Light? It was that, where is it? The Legend powered AA flashlight, this one. Remember how you have to bang it to get the batteries to power the light again? Remember that? Guys, if you don't remember that, you're not old enough. I sure remember it. Well, digital regulation does away with that because it smooths out power delivery to the LED, and theoretically you put a battery in there that's half discharged. Battery died. I'll join those two clips talking about if you put a battery that's half depleted in a digitally regulated flashlight. Theoretically it should power it to the same levels as a fresh battery. Secret is I have found that not to be the case. Generally, if it's a little bit discharged, I have noticed a little bit of difference in brightness. But digital regulation is amazing. So back to the competitor of the Fenix L1D, and again, this is as of January 2009. The brands, the models, all that is subject to change. So in a lot of ways, this information is ephemeral. It's short-lived. But the Nitecore D10 has some advantages over the L1D. One, it's more compact. It's smaller in diameter and it's shorter in overall length, seeing as how the switching mechanism is utilizing a piston drive system. Also, it has like 100 different levels of illumination, and supposedly it does not discharge the batteries when the switch is in the off position, meaning that that microprocessor, which is inside these advanced little LED lights, generally even the off position will slightly drain the battery. at least in the Fenix lights. Now, I haven't read any thread, I haven't done any research on that at all. You might find some on the forums about it. I have, in my 5 months of use of these lights, not found that to be a problem. But given a choice, I would much prefer to have a situation like that where, say, guess what? In the off position, you have absolutely no drain on the battery, kind of like the Nitecore D10. However, getting back to the switchology, like we're talking about, I prefer the Fenix system. Again, I like the tactile feel. I like the simplicity of modes. I don't need 100 levels of lighting. 4 are plenty for me. You want to throw an SOS mode and a strobe mode in there to boot, fine. That's cool. Maybe we'll use those, maybe I won't. But 4 levels of illumination, as I've used these lights in both backpacking in the woods, snowshoeing, and tactical night shoots, and just everyday life. 4 modes is plenty, and I like simplicity. Now, that's not to say that the Nitecore series couldn't be mastered with some use. It could be, but it's going to take some practice, and again, it's not as tactile and clicky as this one. So don't get me wrong. Great lights, both of them. You need to decide which one's more important to you. Versatility, dudes, I talked a lot about this in the L2D video. Remember, again, we can put that light cone on there, go to turbo mode, and we've got ourselves a full-on lantern. Now, the L1D will not have quite the output as L2D. Again, it's just a single AA battery powered light, but still amazing light output. And that diffuser tip that Fenix makes, high quality plastic, great design, and the little light has enough horsepower to actually make it useful. Great function. I would not buy a Fenix light without getting the diffuser tip. Likewise, if you're in the military or you need to preserve your night vision for whatever, buy that red attachment. It slips right on there. Now, ideally, that would be integrated into the light itself. No kidding. That looks pimp, doesn't it? That red. Check it. That's kind of cool. However, you know, we can slide it on. We have that option. That's in turbo mode. Then we go back, and that's low mode. Medium, high. There you have it. Man, that's cool looking. So the disadvantage, of course, it's not integrated, so that means we could lose this or it could pop off. But at least it fits. They make it. It's an option. Versatility. Then you can put that traffic wand on there. The L1D, probably I wouldn't replace my bike light with it. I'd much prefer the L2D. A little more horsepower, a little more burn time, brighter. But you could. And like I showed you in the other video, this user's using it as a short-range tactical light. How cool is that? It's on a Charger 22 pistol, mounted on a short length of tack rail in a scope ring, and then it's shimmed with plastic. By the way, I'm the one that put that light on. Sometimes I just say the user. Sometimes I'm talking about me. I like to muddy the waters on whose it is. You know me. That's cool, though. Yeah, I've shot with it at night, and it freaking rocks. And these could be little weapon lights. No kidding. Could you mount it on a pistol? Yeah, you probably could. Just like I've done here. Yeah, some guy was like, hey, what's a cost-effective way to put a weapon light on? Maybe an L1D, dude. There you have it. And use that scope ring just like I came up with. No, nobody showed me that. I just made it up. It's cool, though. Effective, too. Versatility, you bet. Track record. How have these lights been? Well, again, I don't have years and years of use, but I've never met a Fenix owner that is disappointed with the lights. Never. In fact, I've turned some of my military buddies onto these lights, and they love them. It blows away anything they've ever used or reliable. I haven't heard of ever these lights going down or breaking or failing under use, even in super cold conditions, just like I showed you in my Wilderness Lean-To series of vids. Awesome. I suspect the track record will be solid throughout the lifespan of these lights. Yeah, they'll probably be superseded with even better lights, maybe smaller, brighter, don't know. But I'll tell you, the technology is at a point now where you're wise to opt in. They're cool. Cost. Around $45, maybe $50. I'm surprised the L1D isn't cheaper, but it's pretty much the same price as the L2D, give or take. Give or take. Depends on where you get it. By the way, where do you get it? Look right there. Those are my recommendations currently on where to buy all Fenix lights. That gets to value. Considering that this can replace a lot of different lighting options, including a headlamp, maybe a bike light, maybe a lantern, more so with the L2D, the 2 battery version of this one, you are getting a lot of light for the money. Tough, digitally regulated, incredible brightness for what it is, a single battery powering this sucker, durability, nice simplicity in the switchology, the spill beam and the culmination of the beam is just outstanding. Fenix L1D is an EDC light, maybe a small tactical light, you betcha. Love it. That's it. Nothing fancy out. Man, it's good to knock these reviews out. They've been weighing on me forever. See ya.